This is a very early Royal Doulton Peachum figurine with an HN number of 549. She was produced by Royal Doulton between 1922 and 1949. So she really is a vintage figure in every sense of the word. This is, like many of our figurines, one of the earlier ones. In fact, she definitely predates 1928, because, as I'll show you in a second, she has no date stamp on her base, which, as you'll probably know, Royal Doulton introduced a dating code in 1928, which they used until the mid-50s. Now this Peachum here has a completely handwritten base, apart from the Royal Doulton emblem there. But the most important things are that there is no date code next to the Royal Doulton emblem. Her base is completely handwritten, and she has no artist's initials, which all point to her being pre-1928. So she really is a very, very early model of this long retired figurine. Now, obviously, although she's in immaculate condition, it would be hard to say that Polly is what you'd call a looker when you compare her to some of Royal Doulton's, well, most of Royal Doulton's very feminine and attractive and young and youthful and full of life figurines. She has a certain plainness about her, a certain insecurity, a certain lack of confidence and subservience in her pose and in her face, although she's got a very good-natured face, as one can see. The reason for that is that Polly here is a character out of John Gay's The Beggar's Opera, which was a parody on Italian opera written in 1728. And Polly here was one of the leading ladies in that story, in that opera, in that parody. And in the opera, she has something of a hard life. She basically is so insecure and so desperate to find a man that after 5 days she agrees to marry one of the biggest rogues in 18th century London, a chap called Macheath, who was a master criminal and very much an outlaw. But Polly was so flattered by his proposal that she couldn't resist but say yes. But Polly had a bit of a problem, because her dad was he was a thief catcher, an 18th century London thief catcher, and her dad clearly wasn't too impressed about Polly here getting together with Macheath, and he promptly hunted him down and had him thrown into Newgate prison, which was basically the death row of 18th century London. So there Macheath languished, waiting to be strung up from a tree, until he met the prison warden's daughter, called Lucy Lockett. And somehow, the rogue that he was, Macheath managed to convince Lucy Lockett that Polly here meant nothing to him, that she was obviously quite insane and just infatuated with him, and that he loved Lucy. And to top it all off, Macheath convinced Lucy to try and kill poor Polly here. And so Lucy ended up taking poison from Lucy's poison chalice. So she did survive, but one can only imagine that she didn't feel too great about life after that. So I mean, this lovely vintage figurine, in, as you can see, immaculate condition, is a depiction there of the trials and tribulations of the life of Polly Peachum. And quite frankly, given her run of bad luck there, one has to say that she is in rather good condition. I'm not sure I would be in such good condition if someone I'd fallen in love with decided to get somebody else to poison me. So, or for that matter, if my parents try to execute my fiancée. So she's doing pretty well, and she's in, as you can see, just phenomenally good condition, and is very much gorgeous in her own way. She has a very warm-natured and caring look to her, and as a figurine, I think in fact that she has a great deal more character than most, with her elaborate story. So no, she is certainly not the most beautiful Royal Doulton figurine, but it makes a change not to have a cover model, in my opinion. She is exceptionally beautiful in her own way, and the face says it all. You can see that she'd be loyal and good-natured, and we're very lucky to have her because she is such a beautiful example of this very rare figurine. So there you go. This is exactly the one, as with all our figurines, that you can purchase on the Timeless-Antiques.co.uk website. This is the one, the only one we have. So as you can see, she's quite gorgeous, really. So she is a pleasure to own and a pleasure to look at, and her condition, her paintwork, you know, the fact that she is absolutely without restoration or anything, or without the slightest damage, is just, you know, quite phenomenal to think that she dates before 1928. So there you have it, a beautiful piece. Thank you very much.